Good morning, everyone. Being recorded. Welcome to the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors special meeting for the fiscal year 2021 budget deliberations. Today is Monday, June 29th, 2020. Our meeting today is being held remotely due to the current public health crisis to protect the health of all. I will now take roll call to confirm attendance. Please unmute your mic and respond when your name is called. Supervisor Solis? Supervisor Solis? Supervisor Ridley Thomas?
Here.
Supervisor Kuehl?
Here.
Supervisor Hahn?
Here.
Sachi Hamai, Chief Executive Officer?
Supervisor Sachi's on her way. She's not in the room currently. Mary Wickham.
Catherine Solis is here.
Okay, thank you, Supervisor Solis. Mary Wickham, County Counsel?
Present.
Celia Sabala, Executive Officer of the Board?
Here.
As indicated on the posted agenda, we will be taking telephonic public comments during today's meeting. Also, the Executive Office of the Board of Supervisors received over 3,700 written public comments for today's meeting, and all of them are available to the supervisors for their consideration, consistent with Brown Act requirements. We will continue to receive written public comments throughout the meeting. Due to the number of written public comments received, we will not be reading the names. However, these comments will be part of the official record. We will now take public comments. Madam Executive Officer, please read the call-in information that was also provided on the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comment should call 844-721-7239 and use participant code number 783-360. To repeat, please call 844-721-7239 and use participant code number 783-360.
Thank you, Madam Executive Officer. Please explain our speaking rules to those members of the public who are calling in to address the board.
The members of the public calling in, when it's your turn to speak, please state your name and which agenda items you wish to speak on. You will have 1 minute to speak on one agenda item or 2 minutes to speak on 2 or more agenda items. We will allocate up to 60 minutes for public comment. If there are no speakers waiting before 60 minutes have lapsed, we will close public comment. We will continue to accept all written comments that come in during the meeting, which will become part of the record. When speaking on the agenda items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you're not speaking on topic, or if we cannot tell if you're speaking on an agenda item, you will get one warning from County Counsel or the chair. If you do not immediately or clearly get on topic, or if you stray off topic again, you will forfeit the rest of your time and the chair will move to the next speaker. Please note that if you're also listening to the board meeting on a computer or speakerphone, you will need to turn down the volume on those devices as soon as the moderator calls on you. If you do not turn down the volume, there will be an echo. Mr. Moderator, may we have the first speaker, please?
As a reminder, to address the board, please press 1, then 0 at this time. We do need you to press 1, then 0 to place yourself into the queue.
We only have 2 speakers signed up.
Our first question comes from the line of Joseph Maislish. Please state the agenda items you are addressing today. You may begin.
Thank you. I'm speaking about the budget matters. I know you're going to get plenty of comments on the contents of the budget. I'd like to talk about the process between now and I understand September, when you'll be finalizing the budget. Most of you have been legislators in other jurisdictions, state, federal, city. You know that there are budget hearings open to the public, periodic and repeating during the time of the formulation of the budget. We haven't had much of that here so far in the county. You're under tremendous financial pressure. I realize it. And I'd like the process of arriving at apportionment of the budget, which is also the apportionment of pain, to be done in as collaborative a manner as possible. with the residents of the county. I'm hoping that you will publicize well and have an open series of discussions, perhaps with different topics and parts of the budget, as legislators do in other forums. We need as much cooperation and feeling of unity as possible as you formulate and reformulate the budget under these terribly pressured times.
Your time has expired.
Thank you so
Next
much.
speaker, please.
Anthony Robles, please state the agenda items you are addressing today. 10.
I'm speaking in regards to the Care First budget and the budgets regarding the Sheriff's Department and probation, the DA. Right now, as we all know, our county is going through an economic recession, as the entire country is, because of the COVID crisis, and now it's the perfect opportunity to start redirecting the existing funds that we do have, since we know we won't be getting the revenue that we usually do. So with that, there's a huge movement to defund our law enforcement, our local law enforcement all over the country, because of the huge injustices and harms that they've done to our communities. And so with that, the entire juvenile probation budget should be shifted into youth development. There is a letter that has been a youth justice budget letter that has been sent along with that's within the Care First budget, that outlines specific transfers of that money, and defunding the sheriff by at least $300 million to go into an alternative to incarceration fund, and use this money that is spent on locking up our people and arresting our people and surveilling our people in our communities into youth development and diversion and reentry services, so we can reduce the footprint of our carceral system, so we can live in communities that don't need police, that, we have robust, thriving services and opportunities and resources, whether you're in South Central or East LA or the Antelope Valley. You have the same resources and opportunities as people in Santa Monica or Beverly Hills. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Natalie Walter, please state the agenda items you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm addressing the budget, and I don't want to take much time because I know there are a lot of people who want to speak, but I just want to voice my support for the Care First budget supported by Justice LA, and also say that a few weeks ago, I did not even know who my county supervisor was, and I am not a terribly informed person, which I think should actually make an impact for you guys, because I think there are many people like me who are now all of a sudden paying attention and hoping that you guys do the right thing and pull some of the billions of dollars you're spending on a policing system that is targeting our BIPOC people, and make a county that can be proud of you guys instead of afraid of you. That's all.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Sam Sachs, please state the agenda items you are addressing today. You may begin.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on agenda item 3, I believe it is, taking money out of homeless or out of Measure H that was intended for homeless services and giving that to the Sheriff's Department is just like egregiously counter to what thousands of people have been on the street marching for and calling in to ask you for. We need care, not cops. The base for Measure H is a tax, which is already being decimated by the coronavirus. So to further reduce the impact of that in aiding homeless populations and instead endanger them by funding the Sheriff's Department, the murderous Sheriff's Department, is just terrible. Please don't do that. Listen to the thousands of callers. Support Black and brown communities in LA County. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Alex Olson, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm going to speak largely on items 1 and 2 in support of Care First budget. I work in Superior Court, so I see every day how our current system of excessive policing and incarceration destroys lives. It's my job to facilitate, as people, largely people of color, especially Black people, Many of them who have mental health and substance use issues, they take plea deals, they get probation, get picked up for violations of that probation, usually something minor. They go into the system, they come out less able to even reach out for help, and then they immediately repeat the process. They need and want professional help, and I've seen firsthand that the programs that offer that to them work, but the programs themselves are even more overcrowded than the jails. Only a tiny fraction of the people who need these programs can even get in. It is crucial that we support our communities to stop crime at its source and give people who have been arrested alternatives to incarceration, and that we fund these alternatives by cutting funding for jails and prisons, probation, the district attorney's office, and the sheriff's department. I support the creation of an ATI fund and the hiring of an ATI director using those funds. Thank you. I will yield my remaining time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Just a reminder for any late joiners, it is pressing 1 followed by 0 for any public comment. Next, we have Chris Riddle. Please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hello. I'd like to speak on agenda item 3, please. Can you hear me?
We sure can.
Yes, we can. Please begin.
Hi. I strongly oppose the expansion of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Homeless Outreach Services teams. In a moment where Los Angeles community members are demanding accountability and divestment from the LA County Sheriff's Department, increasing funding to a department that has been proven inept, ineffective, and homicidal is disgraceful. The county should place these dollars into the ATI fund for community-based services for the support of the homeless community support of the homeless community members that does not involve law enforcement. Our homeless population is disproportionately black. Black people make up less than 8% of LA's population and 34% of its homeless population. And it's unacceptable to increase sheriff contact in predominantly black communities. They just said on the radio this morning, 1 in 3 use of force encounters in LA involving the police and the sheriff.
Next speaker, please.
Minerva Garcia, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Agenda item 1 and 2. The board must move beyond austerity measures and significantly divest from law enforcement and incarceration. An 8% cut to the sheriff's department is not enough. The primary tool the board has to hold the sheriff, probation, and the district attorney accountable for the ongoing harm they are inflicting on our communities, particularly black residents, is to slash their budgets and use these funds to implement the recommendations of the Alternatives to Incarceration work group. We need a Care First budget for Los Angeles County. On top of that, you are funding a sheriff that is uncontrollable, that it doesn't answer to the law. You know, victims like Andres Guardado, Kenneth Ross Jr., Paul Rea, Vanessa Marquez, whose investigation was botched by the sheriff's department. That you are funding this murderous entity is unacceptable and unconscionable in this day and time. I yield my time. F you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Roxanne Calameras, please state the agenda items you're addressing today. You may begin.
As you stated, my name is Roxanne Calameras. I am a resident of Supervisor District 2 for Mark Riley Thomas. I'm also a county employee in a homeless services program that's funded through Measure H. And I am calling in to not only voice my support for a Care First budget, but also to address item 3C of the agenda, which proposes reallocating $2.2 million of Measure H funds to the Sheriff's Homeless Outreach Services team. I am deeply concerned about allocation of funding to the Sheriff's Department for anything that resembles care or homeless outreach, given how horrific the Sheriff's Department has handled any kind of interaction with the community. It's deeply concerning to me whenever law enforcement is involved in anything resembling care, because it's clear that this is not what is an appropriate function for them, especially when We, under Measure H, have expanded homeless outreach teams that are doing a tremendous job in addressing the increasing unhoused population in our county. Thank you for your consideration, and I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
CC Steer, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
We
Yes,
sure can.
please
You may begin.
Great, thank you. I'm commenting on items 1, 2, and 3. As stated, my name is CC Steer. I'm a fourth generation Angelino. I live on Tongva land. I live in District 1, represented by Hilda Solis. I'm a gardener, an herbalist, and an educator, and I see how people respond when they get their hands dirty growing their own food and medicine. I know firsthand that there are alternatives to the punitive justice of the LA County sheriffs and prisons, and I'm calling on you to all move away from this model of punishment and toward a vision of transformative justice. I ask that you defund the LA Sheriff's Department and fund programs directly supporting our communities who are disproportionately abused and incarcerated by the LA Sheriffs. We have the biggest Sheriff's Department in the country, the largest jail system in the world, and so we have the greatest potential to make transformational and inspirational change here. How many more people must the LAWDs kill before we decide to defund the police? How many thousands more people need to call on you, the Board of Supervisors, our paid representatives, before you defund the police? The time is now. We, the people, are speaking. We're not going anywhere anytime soon, and we ask that you listen. So please immediately fund the Care First initiative. Please defund the LA Sheriff's Department. Work quickly on decarcerating and clearing out our bloated jails. Please fund the Care First initiative and pay the director of the Alternatives to Incarceration the ATI project from the Care First funding, not through private philanthropy. Please return to a $0 bail to protect current inmates from COVID infection and work toward abolishing cash bail. Please do not employ risk assessment conditional release programs, which are inherently racist and classist, in the place of bail. And please consult grassroots community organizations as you reallocate what was the Sheriff's Department funding to community-based and centered transformative justice organizations. Please continue to make these meetings accessible to the public. If they were to be in person, please also make attendance possible online or by phone like they are now. This is great. Thank you. I cede my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Tyler Samples, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Tyler Samples, and I am addressing agenda items 1, 2, and 3. I am a resident of District 5, and I strongly urge you to vote in favor of the Care First budget. The sheriff's actions in response to Measure R and the murder of Andres Guardado are shameful, and the primary tool you have to hold them accountable is this budget. So please keep that in mind and use it to the full advantage to give a message that is commensurate with what your citizens and residents are asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Johnny Raster, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm speaking on agenda items 1, 2, and 3. My name is Johnny Rafter. I live in the 1st District. I'm a library worker, and I urge you to vote for the Care First budget. The sheriff has demonstrated to all of us his complete disregard for the financial health of the county, shocking disrespect for the board, particularly the women that lead this county, and most importantly, complete disregard for the lives of Black and Brown residents. Community members are calling on you to hold his office accountable through the primary tool at your disposal, the budget. It is time to cut the budget well beyond 8% and invest in ATI implementation. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Alex Gracie, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hello and thank you, Board Supervisors. My name is Alex Gracie. I'm a resident of District 3 and one of your constituents, Supervisor Kuehl. I'm a volunteer with Justice LA, and I will be commenting on items 1, 2, and 3, but specifically item 3F. I believe an ATI initiative with no funding is disrespectful to the countless hours community members and county leaders have invested into the ATI process. The ATI framework provides the roadmap to combating the immediate harms of COVID-19 and the longstanding racial and economic inequalities in our county. The CEO had the opportunity to lean into ATI implementation as a response to COVID-19 and has failed the county in this critical moment. Waiting until the fall to begin the implementation process is reckless and will cost LA County more lives. The solution is clear. Create an ATI fund and begin diverting money away from our law enforcement into our community. I would also like to strongly encourage the board to adopt a Care First budget and to make substantial cuts to our ballooned police budget that has created a violent and militarized police force that causes more harm than good. I yield my remaining time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Tobin DeMarco, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I am addressing agenda items 1 and 2. I am a passionate voter from Supervisor Kuehl's district. I'm calling in support of the Care First budget. I have personally participated in the carceral system as you are currently funding it, and it's a disgrace. I was one of the only very few white women being caged. My charges were much more egregious than all of the BIPOC I was caged with, and I was treated very differently and given much nicer options. You should be ashamed of yourselves. These communities are terrorized by your sheriff and punished for being BIPOC. You should be ashamed of yourselves for funding this, and you need to finally stand up for the people you claim to work for. Your communities need care, not cages. Put the money back into the community. We need better education, alternatives to incarceration, affordable housing, and health care, to name a few. None of these are going to be possible if you keep funding the sheriff's department and the insane jail system in this county. Neither one of those departments have been proven to help with crime at all. Your community is begging you. Can I count on your support for a Care First budget? Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
We have Jala Bravo. Please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, thank you for having me on. I'm addressing items 3C, I believe, in regards to funding going towards the police and being taken away from Measure H. I strongly want to make sure that disagree with the money going towards the police. It's important that we're working on using the funding to house our homeless and use mental health services. It's important that we're working towards the housing first model to really address the homeless crisis issue that we have here in LA and make sure that the funding for Measure H is using towards de-escalation processes such as mental health services and dual diagnosis providers for the homeless. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Megan Malloy, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'll be speaking on Agenda Item 3, specifically Agenda Item 3F. On March 10th, the board agreed to move forward with the Care First Jails Last Alternatives to Incarceration work group final report. Yet you have not allocated $1 of funding towards this vision. Justice LA's Care First budget outlines how the board can begin funding that vision now. By adopting the recommendation of the Care First budget, investing in community care, and divesting from jails and law enforcement, you will demonstrate your commitment to creating a new vision of community safety, especially for Black and Brown residents of LA. I'm currently a graduate student studying marriage and family therapy, and I fundamentally do not believe in the human psychology of incarceration and policing. LA County needs to prioritize a vision of care rather than incarceration. Please adopt the Care First budget. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Melinda Kakani, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, this is Melinda Kakani, speaking on behalf of Children's Defense Fund California and speaking on agenda items 1 and 2. In reading the recommended adjustments to the recommended county budget document, what struck me as problematic was that the impetus for this document was solely the serious economic downturn caused by COVID-19, without any acknowledgement, explicit or implicit, to the fact that we are also in the middle of a reckoning that for far too long we have invested far too much in what has historically been referred to as public safety, that being the Sheriff's Department and probation. And by far too much, I mean 40% of this year's net county cost fund. Not that long ago, Supervisor Ridley Thomas asked the board to consider whether the structure of the probation department itself is limiting and even counterproductive in the pursuit of reform. He called the model of juvenile halls and camps fundamentally flawed. 40% of this county's dollars to a fundamentally flawed system does not add up. Now is the time to move forward with planning for the elimination of probation's budget, including the completely unchecked citation diversion program, to stop the policing and incarceration of children and the resulting trauma that individuals are forced to carry, and to begin the legitimate investment in communities, families, and youth. Now is the time to hold ourselves accountable for the failures, oppression, and structural racism rooted in public safety as previously defined, and to begin to reimagine, redefine, and reallocate. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Lindsay Hers, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hello, my name is Lindsay Hers. I'll be addressing budget items 1, 2, and 3, and I live in Mark Ridley Thomas's district. As a public school teacher in LAUSD, I know all too well how cycles of oppression, poverty, incarceration, and violence go unchecked and are, in fact, perpetuated and fueled by our current criminal justice and law enforcement systems. We cannot continue to harm our communities by allowing our systems to exist as is. We must reimagine how we care for and support human beings in living in LA County. Let's tend to the roots of our problems by addressing basic human needs: healthcare, housing, food, education, mental health. Let's interrupt cycles of oppression and give power back to directly impacted communities. We must divest from probation and invest in youth. Black and brown students in Los Angeles are criminalized on a daily basis, with a quarter of LA school police arrests happening in elementary and middle schools. This contributes to the school to prison pipeline, which is alive and well in Los Angeles. LAUSD and LA County are clearly more invested in punishing rather than supporting our youth, and it disgusts me that probation spends almost $450,000 per year per each youth. Those millions of dollars could be used on programs and resources that give our youth everything they need to thrive, heal, and feel loved and supported. We must put our money where our mouths are and adopt a Care First budget. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Genevieve Clevreux, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin. Genevieve, your line may be on mute.
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Genevieve Clevreux. Actually, I am quite impressed with the budget, the way it has been outlined now. I just hope more money will be placed to deal with the nursing home issue. And otherwise, I think it's a very well-balanced budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Alyssa Manis, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hey, my name is Alyssa Manis, and I'm addressing agenda items 1 and 2 and voicing strong support of the Care First budget. I'm a resident of District 2, and I strongly urge the Board of Supervisors to adopt the Care First budget immediately. One of the things I love most about Los Angeles is that it's a creative epicenter. The creative power of people who live here is truly astounding, and we're always moving, and we're always creating, and we're a strong and beautiful community. And you are not listening to us as we demand accountability from our government and demand divestment from our law enforcement agencies. Our communities, especially our Black and brown communities, need to see funds redirected from law enforcement agencies and diverted to public health and safety resources, alternatives to incarceration efforts, and services that provide Angelenos what they need to live thriving, joyful, beautiful lives without fearing they might die at the hand of those who are supposed to protect them. It is important our city budget reflects Care First and not the egregious and obvious show of white power and systemic racism by our law enforcement agencies. Please honor this beautiful city and do your job. You work for us.
Thank you. Your time has
Prove to us
expired.
that you care
Next
about the
speaker,
city.
please.
Carter Moon, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Carter Moon. I live in District 3. Hello to Supervisor Kuehl. I'll be speaking on items 1, 2, and 3. In short, I demand your support for a Care First budget immediately. On items 1 and 2, almost 50% of incarcerated people in LA County have a chronic illness. Nearly 2 out of 3 have a substance abuse disorder, and roughly 1/4 struggle with mental illness. LA County has chosen not to invest in affordable housing and social services for decades. And the result is that our most vulnerable members of our community are left at the mercy of our cruel incarceration system and our murderous law enforcement. You have the power to have the budget align with your proposed Care First mission by creating an ATI fund immediately and divesting from incarceration and into ATI implementation that cares for people with chronic illnesses. On item 3C, I am vehemently opposed to the expansion of LA's Sheriff's Homeless Outreach Services teams. We are collectively demanding and divest LASD in a time of unprecedented crisis for our homeless community. We absolutely have to redirect resources to an ATI fund for community-based services for the homeless without law enforcement involvement. I cannot believe this is even up for discussion. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Kate Jopson, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm speaking on agenda items number 1 and 2, and I'm represented by Supervisor Kuehl. I wrote grants for youth diversion programs, and by providing job training and wraparound services, they reduced youth recidivism by 80% to 85%. If small, underfunded community organizations can have this impact, think of what is possible if you put the $450,000 you spend per youth for incarceration in camps into alternatives for incarceration. I know that you recognize that these programs are working and created the diversion programs within the LA Probation Department, but trust had been built with these community organizations over the course of decades. And when this program was created, funding for these community organizations shrunk. And so I encourage you to invest in these alternatives to care into these community organizations and support the Care First budget. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Felicia White, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Felicia White. I'm a resident of Burbank, District 5, and I'm going to be speaking on agenda items 1, 2, and 3. And I specifically want to talk about 3C. I purchased a home next to a transitional youth shelter. I see homeless youth in my neighborhood every day, and I see what good organizations can make a difference if we put the money there. I'm so grateful that they don't have to rely on programs like HOST or be sent to camps. And I know that if we do a Care First budget, we can put the money into programs like this that work better for our community. We need to focus on de-escalation of every kind and stop funding a program just because it's easier. We have to do the hard work now. People want change now. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Daniel Hirsch, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hello. My name is Daniel Hirsch, and I'm addressing agenda item 1 and 2. I'm a resident of LA in the 1st District, and I've been outraged at the ongoing racial harm done by the sheriff and probation departments, as well as the district attorney, and the historic divestment from Black and Brown communities. And that is why I strongly urge you to vote in favor of the Care First budget. Nearly half of all people incarcerated in LA County have at least one chronic illness. Close to 2/3 have substance use disorder, and about 1/4 have serious mental illness. And because of the lack of investment into affordable housing and accessible social services in the community, LA County jails are filled with some of our most vulnerable community members who would be better served in community-based services. The CEO's proposed budget fails to address the needs of our most vulnerable community members by continuing to waste funding on incarceration and law enforcement. As the board, I urge you to create an ATI fund today and divert funding from incarceration into ATI implementation that supports people with behavioral health needs. Please, please, please vote in favor of a Care First budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Elizabeth Thorne, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm speaking on agenda items 1 and 2. I'm represented by Supervisor Barker. I strongly urge all of you to vote in favor of the Care First budget. One of my best friends struggled with alcoholism after his father died, and when he was caught drunk driving, he was sent to jail for a week because he had a previous arrest for public drunkenness. He told me about his experience in jail, and I'm haunted by the image of this 21-year-old kid sitting in a cell, curled up and crying. What my friend needed was alternatives to incarceration. He needed grief counseling and addiction help. When a person who's struggling makes a mistake, it's a cry for help. and we need to answer that cry and help them heal. I ask you, the supervisors, each of you, think of a loved one who has struggled at some point in their life. What help did they need, and what help did they get? Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ali Kikofer, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I would like to speak on item 3C and item 3S. First of all, for item 3C, do not give more funding to the sheriff by expanding the homeless outreach services team. The sheriff has been proven ineffective. All they do is harass unhoused people. You waste our money sending it to them. That brings me to item 3F, fund ATI immediately. It's ridiculous that funding for ATI is coming from philanthropy dollars. You should defund incarceration and use the money to address ATI. Also, ATI was proposed in March and not a single dollar has been reallocated. We are in a crisis and cannot wait until the fall to fund ATI. Here's a personal story. I've written into my supervisor, Supervisor Kuehl, about this multiple times. I have a family member who has mental health issues, and over the past 2 years, we tried to call for county mental health services more times than I can count. We never received real support because the departments we called did not have funding to send someone out quickly enough, so they just told us to call the police. My family member, who's only 20, was failed multiple times by LA County Mental Health Services, and just 2 weeks ago, she was incarcerated during a mental health crisis. Jesus is still in the middle of that mental health crisis, and now she's in a prison. Anyone who thinks it's good for someone in a mental health crisis to be in a cage is wrong.
Expired. Next speaker, please.
Cassie Gogrief, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Next speaker, please.
Cassie D'Agostino, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
I'm speaking on agenda items 1, 2, and 3, and I'm a constituent of District 3. In regard to 1 and 2, I admonish the board to adopt a Care First budget. Our community needs to heal and grow, not sow further roots of division, which is what will happen under the CEO's budget as it currently stands. In regard to item 3, I think it is egregious to suggest application of LASD presence to any aspect of homeless outreach. In a moment where LA community members are demanding accountability and divestment from the LA County Sheriff's Department, increasing funding to a department that has proven inept, ineffective, and homicidal is disgraceful. The county should place these dollars into an ATI fund for community-based services that support our houseless community members without law enforcement involvement. Black Lives Matter. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Jill Blog, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Yes, my name is Jill Ballog. I also am a substitute teacher for the Los Angeles Unified School District. I'm addressing agendas item 1 and 2. I'm a school teacher and I care about my students. I care about their families and their communities. They need a safe place to thrive in a diverse city of 3.8 million. Everyone needs to live in a safe place to sleep and breathe and work and play. My students get distracted and cannot learn with the stress that LAPD, sheriffs, and other law enforcement agencies extract from them. We need a Care First budget so they can feel safe in their own communities and stop being put into a state of distress and duress, which is traumatic for all of our students. And all of the adults at the schools as well. I also think that investments in punishing rather than supporting our youth have yielded dire results. With the average daily population of about 900 youth in FY 2019 to 20, probation spends almost $450,000 per year for each youth, the equivalent to about $1,200 per youth for just one day in campus or halls. It's imperative that we stop funneling money into systems that are irreparably harming our youth. We must instead invest in those millions of dollars on youth development programs and resources that give our youth everything they need to thrive, heal, and feel loved and supported. The board can begin that process by creating an ATI fund, allocate probation dollars in the CEO's proposed budget into that fund, and earmark those dollars for youth development. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Jessica Craven, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Jessica Craven. I am calling on agenda items really 1 through 3. I am calling to sort of support what everybody else has said, that it is time to defund this sheriff's department. It is really especially upsetting, and I believe this is item 3C, to hear that that you are considering taking funds away from Measure H to give to the sheriff's department. I just want to sort of echo what others have said, that this sheriff, Alex Villanueva, has zero respect for you guys in the Board of Supervisors, none. He is a completely rogue individual, and he is overseeing a group of law enforcement agents who are racists and fascists and who are killing Black and brown people with impunity. So if you guys continue to fund the sheriff's department to any degree, I mean, yes, they have to have some, but I'd like you to defund them largely, because if you don't, you are saying that you tacitly agree with the fact that they are able to shoot people like Andres Guardado in the back and get away with it completely. It's sickening, and Los Angeles residents are tired of it. We're not going to stand for it. We will keep coming every single week until you guys defund this rogue sheriff's department and put that money towards helping the people of Los Angeles. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mahal Ansik, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm speaking on agenda items 1, 2, and 3. I live in the 1st District. Hello, Supervisor Solis. I'm an attorney and advocate who has worked alongside the incarcerated community for 15 years, and we need a Care First budget now. Specifically, as to agenda item 3F, I strongly support the board hiring an ATI director. However, I was really disturbed to find out that this position is being funded by philanthropic dollars. That not only takes away dollars from community organizations that are doing important community care work on the ground, but it signals a lack of commitment to the Care First vision. A touchstone of philanthropic dollars is they are unsustainable and precarious. I worked as a legal fellow at a nonprofit for 3 years, and my salary was funded by philanthropic dollars. I had to fundraise to keep my job every single year. The ATI director position is too critical to be subject to the same instability. It also means that the ATI director will be accountable to funders rather than community members, and it shows an unwillingness to defund incarceration and law enforcement who harm our communities. I recently read a book that said that we cannot cut down the tree of incarceration while we water its roots. As long as you continue funding the murderous sheriffs and toxic incarceration, you are watering the roots of incarceration and unleashing harm on our communities. We need an ATI director funded now. Thanks. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Tara O'Callaghan, please state the agenda items that you're addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Tara O'Callaghan, and I'm a resident of District 3, and I'm calling to address agenda items 1, 2, and 3. I urge the LA County Board of Supervisors to pass the Care First budget, especially the youth justice budget. We need care, not cops, and to divest police and invest in programs that serve the community, especially Black communities that are disproportionately policed and underserved in social services and education. Funds need to be allocated to more counselors and nurses in schools and other youth programs that support growth in education. We need to defund the LA County Sheriff and fund more mental health care, substance abuse treatment, and alternatives to incarceration. We need to reimagine public safety and lead the country in showing that police reform is not effective, and what is effective is defunding the police and replacing them with experts who are appropriately trained in the specific field. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mike Royce, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Mike Royce. I'm in District 3. I'm speaking on items 1 and 2. I just want to echo a couple of the other callers. I've never spoken at one of these before, but like many people in the last couple of months, my eyes have really been open to the need for overwhelming systemic changes in policing and incarceration and public health. And that's why I really hope that you will vote in favor of the Care First budget. I was appalled by the conduct of the Sheriff's Department in the Andres Guardado case, where they quite obviously are trying to cover up something, and then they had the nerve to tear gas people who are peacefully protesting this incredible outrage. They've just shown that they're incapable of executing what is clearly an outsized mission, and money needs to be taken from them and given to more useful ventures. So I hope that you'll consider a hiring freeze and significantly cut the budget. 3.4 billion for the Sheriff's Department is just co-signing the disrespect that department is giving you. So we should give that money to people who are protecting the community and not this department that seems to be working actively against it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Alice Wetterland, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm Alice Wetterland. I'm a resident of Los Angeles County. I'm represented by Supervisor Kuehl. I am submitting public comment on agenda items 1 and 2 and agenda item 3C. I would like to urge the council to vote in favor of the Care First budget. Firstly, because it's a smart and efficient use of my tax dollars. And I'm learning from these calls philanthropic dollars, which is ridiculous. But my statement regards incarceration, and like modern militarized policing, it is expensive and it's ineffective. I support the creation of an ATI fund as a much more efficient and less cruel, most importantly, use of public funds to address the problems that vulnerable Angelenos are facing. On agenda item 3C, taking money from Measure H and giving it to the Sheriff's Department is an egregious misuse of voters' tax dollars. Los Angeles citizens have spoken at the ballot box, and we've spoken on the streets in the past month, and we've told you that we want what we want, and the Sheriff's Department's host program is not it. And furthermore, given the Sheriff's Department's ineptitude and homicidal tendencies towards Black and brown citizens who make up a disproportionate number of LA's unhoused population, I'd like to add this diversion of funds to the Sheriff's Department could prove and probably will prove fatal. As we all know, on March 10th, the board agreed to move forward with the Care First, Jails Last, Alternatives to Incarceration Work Group final report, and no money's been allocated towards implementation. The Justice LA has outlined how you can start funding that vision right now. There's too many lives lost, and there's too many lives going down the drain because of the diversion of these funds. I urge you to support the Care First budget. Now I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Elizabeth Burgoon, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Hello, I will be addressing agenda items 1 and 2. I'm a resident of Baldwin Hills in Los Angeles. I've become familiar with the LA County systems over the years because I have the unfortunate luck of being one of the 2 million people in California that suffers from depression. At least a quarter of people incarcerated in LA County have a severe mental illness. Last year, while balancing going through a traumatic divorce, being a single mom of 2, and struggling with severe postpartum depression, I experienced the fracture that we call our justice system. 2 officers responded to my ex-husband's 911 call stating that I was suicidal with a baby in the home. I answered the door clearly exhausted and struggling with no fight left in me. Rather than calling an ambulance, the officers chose to handcuff me in front of my child. I then spent the day in a freezing cold jail cell waiting to be evaluated and was finally taken to the hospital 8 hours later. At that point, I was still handcuffed and traipsed through the hospital like a prize until the doctor insisted that the handcuffs be removed. What I experienced was a complete failure of the system. Having a mental illness is not a crime. You all sit here from a place of privilege. I was also aware that day of my privilege as a white woman. I was able to walk out of that jail and into a hospital where they gave me food and a blanket and sent me home with instructions to take a vacation. Had I been a Black woman, I'm sure I would never have even left that jail cell. Let's all use our privilege and make the choice to significantly reduce the budget of our sheriff's, probation, and district attorney's offices and redistribute the people's money back to the community where it should have gone in the first place. You have the power. Make the right choice. Please, please, care for once by creating an ATI fund today, not in September, and divert funding and support to our vulnerable population. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Aaron Rain, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
I'm speaking on items 1, 2, and 3, and specifically item 3F. It's time for the board to realize its intention and promise of a Care First vision for LA County. It's time to aggressively fund the recommendations in the Alternatives to Incarceration Work Group final report now. We can't wait for supplemental budget in the fall to begin this really important implementation process. Every county resident is at risk under the current system, particularly Black residents, Indigenous residents, and all Angelenos of color. The board can take a substantive step now by creating an ATI fund to consolidate funds for ATI implementation, which needs to happen now. The board has a unique opportunity to lead the state and the nation by taking bold action to defund the dangerous sheriff department and robustly fund programs to support our communities and make Los Angeles County actually safer for everyone. Thank you. I'll yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Kruti Parekh, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. Please begin. Kruti Parekh, you may be unmute.
Next speaker, please.
Eric Chevron, please state the agenda items that you are addressing today. Please begin.
I'm speaking on 1, 2, and 3. All right, let's talk about the high cost of arresting LA youth. Crime rates are at the lowest level since the 1950s, but LA County makes up 27% of California's population and 40% of the state's prison population. LA County still locks up more youth than any other place in the world, and 95% are Black and Latino. Youth who are locked up, even for a few days, are 39% less likely to finish high school and 67% more likely to be in prison by the age of 25 than youth with similar charges from the same community that are not detained. That is genocidal, people. Please, 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 I am urging all of you LA County supervisors to do your job and to pass the Care First budget, including the youth justice budget. You cannot continue to keep going to Bestia, keep going to dinners and fundraisers and saying you're doing a great job when you are doing this to children. I am urging you, I am demanding you transfer at least $600 million from LA County Probation, at least $300 million from the LA County Sheriff's Department, and $75 million from the Office of the LA County District Attorney to the Office of Diversion and Reentry and Youth Diversion and Development. I am asking you, I'm demanding that you prioritize youth centers, youth jobs, peace builders in schools and streets to replace all law enforcement in schools, and a free Metro Pass for all youth, kindergarten, and then also end all system fees and fines, including closing probation's fake juvenile citation diversion program, and declare amnesty and erase all past debt. Children do not deserve debt. End probation's pre-trial services and transfer that work to the Office of Diversion and Reentry in partnership with community-based organizations with a new emphasis on pre-arraignment assessment within hours of arrest. We see you. We see what you are not
doing. Thank you. Your time has expired. Next speaker, please.
Jillian Zwick, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Gillian from District 1. Hello, Hilda Solis. I'm addressing agenda items 1, 2, and 3. I strongly urge you to vote in favor of the Care First budget. As much as the board has voiced support of these demands, no money has been moved towards ATI and community care. Additionally, an 8% cut to the Sheriff's Department is not enough. You are the most direct and primary tool we have to hold the sheriff, probation, and district attorney accountable for the harm that they are doing. On March 10th, the board agreed to move forward with the Care First Jail's Last Alternative to Incarceration work group and final report. On March 10th, the board agreed to move forward. I strongly support the board hire an ATI director who is accountable to community members, not fundraisers. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Michelle Sweeney, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. Please begin.
I'm addressing items 1, 2, and 3. I'm echoing the statements of those before me. I had some things planned to say, but it's been worded much better than I would have with some very compelling statistics. I will say that when the sheriffs are called, it's consistently ending in tragedy for our citizens across the board. And I just want to urge the board members, people are paying attention now, and the primaries have shown that the protests are translating to the polls. I feel like in the past, I mean, I'm an older person, I've been through this a lot. I feel like in the past, the protests haven't really transferred to the polls, and that's not true this time. They are transferring to the polls. So your voice in these matters of not supporting Care First, I urge you to support Care First immediately. Your voice in not supporting these things will be noted and will be reposted when you are up for re-election on all social media. I yield my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Jaslyn Patricio, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Jaslyn. I'm a member of the District 2, and I will be addressing agenda items 1 and 2. I'm calling today to urge the board to adopt a budget that significantly divests from law enforcement and incarceration and invests in care for our communities. The Sheriff, Probation Office, and District Attorney have shown gross negligence and outright harm towards Black and Brown communities, and now it is time to restructure our budget towards solutions that prioritize alternatives to incarceration. As a daughter of a formerly incarcerated person, I know deeply how harmful incarceration and policing is, not just on the incarcerated individual, but on entire families and generations to come. I hope that the board listens to the people who have spoken today to imagine a city that no longer relies on violence and fear to enforce order, and instead creates a supportive system of rehabilitation and reentry where people have access to their basic human rights, housing, food, water, and health care. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Nadika Durante, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Nadika Karnavna, and I am a graduate student at UCLA and live in the 2nd District. I'm commenting on agenda items 1, 2, and 3 with a focus on 1 and 2. As an education PhD student, I study issues of sexual violence in schools. I've studied and read the well-documented research about the underfunding of support resources for our communities that in turn harm students. For too long, LA County has used incarceration as a way to respond to social harm, including with our youth, which has continued to exacerbate social inequities. Our schools are incredibly defunded, while, as just one example, probation spends almost $450,000 per year for each youth, or about $1,200 per youth for just one day. This money must be funneled into community-led resources and schools, not the Sheriff's Department and your jails. As your constituent, I strongly urge you to vote in favor of the Care First budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Louise Dobbs, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Thank you. I'm addressing agenda items 1, 2, and 3, specifically 3F, but all of those. I'm Louise Dobbs, a senior in District 3. I live in Santa Monica. I am speaking in support of the Care First budget. I've never spoke here before, but the more I learn about mass incarceration and over-policing, the more I feel called to speak out about it. Community is hurting. LA is hurting. Homelessness, abandonment of poor people, lack of resources, too many people in jail, not enough help for and support for human needs. The streets are full of poor people without adequate services, homes, fresh water, bathroom facilities. People are hurting. We need investment in alternatives to our incarceration. Create the ATI fund and work on this, not on more police and incarceration. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Jan William, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Good morning. My name is Jan Williams. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. I'm speaking to agenda items 1, 2, and 3. My name is Jan Williams. I'm with Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. The board must move beyond austerity measures and significantly divest from law enforcement and incarceration. An 8% cut to Sheriff's Department is not enough. The primary tool of the board has to hold the Sheriff's Department, probation, and the District Attorney accountable for the ongoing harm they are inflicting on our communities, particularly Black residents. It's to slash their budget and use these funds to implement the recommendation of the Alternatives to Incarceration Work Group. We need a Care First budget for Los Angeles County. For agenda item 3C, I strongly oppose the expansion of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Homeless Outreach Services Team. In a moment where Los Angeles community members are demanding accountability and divestment from LA County sheriffs, increasing funding to a department that has proven inept, ineffective, and homicidal is disgraceful. The county should place these dollars into alternatives to policing for community-based services that support our houseless community and members without law enforcement. And on 3F, the board must realize the promise of the Care First vision for Los Angeles County and aggressively funding the recommendations in the Alternatives to Incarceration Work Group final report now. It's not acceptable to wait until the supplemental budget in the fall to begin implementation process. The board can begin taking the first step by creating an Alternatives to Incarceration Fund now, where the funds can be consolidated for ATI implementation. And I'm in County District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Catherine Shatina, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
My name is Catherine Shatina. I'm speaking on agenda items 1, 2, and 3C specifically. I want to echo the comments of people who have spoken far more eloquently than me, asking for a Care First budget and sharing their personal experience. And just urge the Board of Supervisors to realize that people calling in and sharing their personal experiences is an act of compassion, and it's on you to meet that act of compassion by creating real change. I also want to speak regarding item 3C, which redirects funds away from Measure H to the Sheriff's Homeless Outreach Services. Considering that Measure H is funded by sales tax, it's already taken a huge hit from COVID-19, and doing this now is just disrespectful to the massive crisis that we have in homelessness. It also is, considering the sheriff's recent and continued acts of violence, shooting an 18-year-old in the back just 2 weeks ago, you would be showing your tacit support for the sheriff's department by doing something like this. So instead of supporting the murderous sheriff's department, let's actually support our unhoused population and make some real change. Please support the Care First budget. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Nora Sweeney, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, I'm speaking to agendas 1, 2, and 3. I'm involved with Justice LA, and I'm a resident of the 1st District. I strongly urge you to vote in favor of the Care First budget. We need to defund the Sheriff's Department and fund alternatives to incarceration. I have a close friend who committed a felony, and I've seen firsthand how he struggles to make a basic living since being released from prison. We need an ATI fund so that less people end up in this predicament. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Lindsay Zappas, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. You may begin.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Zappas, and I'm a volunteer with Justice LA. I'm in District 2, and I'm calling on agenda item 1 and 2, and I strongly urge you to vote in favor of the Care First budget. The board has verbally supported these Care First goals. Hilda Solis, you've said that investing in community-based treatment and services instead of incarceration is not only humane but cost-effective in the long run. But the budget being proposed does not match these statements. The money really needs to reflect the goals that you're claiming to align with. Nearly 1/2 of all people incarcerated in LA County have at least one chronic illness, and 1/4 have a serious mental illness. Because of a lack of investment into affordable housing and accessible social services in the community, LA County jails are filled with some of our most vulnerable community members, and the CEO's proposed budget fails to address their needs by continuing to waste funding on incarceration and law enforcement. So, as the board, you have the power right now to course correct the budget and align with Care First mission by creating an ATI fund today and diverting funding from incarceration. Thank you.
Marisa Takal, please state the agenda items that you'll be addressing today. Your line is open.
Hi, this is Marissa Takal, and I'm a constituent of District 1, and I'm calling about Agenda 1 in support of the Care First budget. I'm supporting Justice LA in their effort to divest from incarceration and invest in alternatives to incarceration. Because we've used incarceration as a way to respond to social harms, even for the smallest offenses, our jails have
not only become overcrowded, but they're also responsible for immense social inequities. And near the end of last year, our jail system statewide was at 136% capacity, 136% capacity. And I'm saying our jail system to remind you that we are all connected. We are fighting to make our city a more humane, justified city, and you are the individuals who can make the decision to change the budget. We are all human beings whose divine birthright it is to be loved and cared for, and this is an issue of all of us. COVID-19 has exacerbated the already toxic health ramifications of overpopulation in prison. Human beings are being crowded into county jail facilities that are medically vulnerable and are being held in close contact with each other, often without adequate access to water and soap. You are letting this happen to human beings by not defunding the police, by not allocating funds.
Thank you. Madam Chair, we have now concluded our public comment portion.
Thank you. Our time for public speakers has ended. I want to thank all that have called in to speak. If you were unable to provide your comments, you may submit written comments as indicated on the agenda. We will continue to accept all written comments that come in during the meeting, which will be part of the record. Again, thank you for calling in. Let me tell you the plan for today. The Chief Executive Officer will present each of the budget items in numerical order. Members of the board will be given the opportunity to speak after the Chief Executive Officer has presented the items. It'll be in order of specials, beginning with 5th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We will now hear from our Chief Executive Officer, Sachi Hamai.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Today, I will be presenting the 2021 final changes budget. This $34.9 billion budget represents some of the most challenging fiscal decisions we have faced in recent county's history. As you know, the unprecedented economic crisis sparked by COVID-19 has resulted in sharp revenue declines. At the same time, the county also is investing in major response and reopening activities to support our communities during this pandemic. Unfortunately, I must report that significant cuts in county programs and personnel will be needed as a result of the serious economic downturn caused by this ongoing public health emergency. This is not the outcome any of us wants to see, especially as our county staff continues to serve with great commitment and dedication on the front lines of this crisis, as well as behind the scenes to assist our 10 million residents. I want to personally take this opportunity to thank each and every one of our 100,000 plus dedicated county employees for their truly heroic public service. I am so grateful and proud of our workforce and everything they have and are accomplishing. Later in my presentation, I will explain some of the ways in which we hope to mitigate some of the impacts in the months ahead. First, though, I would like to take you through the most up-to-date revenue loss projections and proposed cuts needed to balance our budget as it stands now. We are currently projecting a $935.3 million budget gap for fiscal year 2021. This is primarily in revenue losses, mostly due to the sharp decline in state and local sales taxes. The major impacts are in 4 areas: the net county cost or NCC portion of our budget, funded with sales tax and other locally generated revenues; public safety, social services, health, mental health programs that have been realigned from the state to counties and are funded through state sales tax and vehicle licenses, also known as realignment funds; homelessness efforts funded through Measure H; and state budget cuts to child support services. As a result, we propose taking the following actions to balance our budget: implementing departmental curtailments totaling $453.5 million, using one-time funding of $351.6 million from the realignment program set aside in departmental trust accounts, implementing management cost reductions of $59.3 million, including suspension of retirement account matching contributions, and an estimated $70.9 million drop in Measure H sales tax revenues will be offset with $22.6 million in state homeless housing assistance and prevention program funding, with other sources of funding expected to be identified in the supplemental budget. Overall, the proposed departmental curtailments will result in the elimination of 3,251 positions. 2,596 of these represent vacancies and 655 are potential layoffs. Please note that no layoffs will take place prior to October 1st. We did not arrive at these recommendations lightly. Every department submitted detailed curtailment scenarios ranging from 10% to 20%. These submissions were reviewed thoughtfully and comprehensively to address the big picture of county services that we must continue to provide to our residents. The proposed cuts in this final changes budget represents an across-the-board cut of approximately 8% of net county cost funding. Although these cuts do not represent the worst-case scenario we explored, they are nevertheless significant, particularly for our public safety departments. That's because of the way in which these departments are funded. Public safety departments, particularly the Sheriff's Department, receive by far the largest portion of net county cost funds. Overall, public safety departments receive approximately 40% of the county's NCC. These departments also receive a large share of the state realignment sales tax revenues, which have declined sharply. These proposed cuts are not in any way intended to penalize any department or to diminish the importance of their work. Rather, these curtailments are part of an equitable process of cost reductions that will affect all county departments. A key part of my message today is that this budget marks a point in time, not the finish line. As you know, the beauty of our county budget is that it is built in phases: recommend, final, and supplemental. And this budget process allows us to respond flexibly to the dynamic situations like the one we are in today. So although we call this the final changes budget, it is part of a continuum. By law, we must adopt this budget prior to July 1 to preserve our full spending authority. However, we hope to be able to mitigate some of these cuts when we return to your board with the supplemental budget in September. Between now and then, the CEO budget team will be looking closely for additional sources of revenue that may assist us. The four main areas we are pursuing are any one-time funding that we are able to identify as we close the books on the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget, additional state funding that will help offset the deep decline in state sales tax revenues, any new federal stimulus funding that may be approved later this summer, particularly after the July 4th holiday, or an agreement with county unions on cost-saving measures that will help preserve jobs. Before the board begins voting on the agenda items, I would like to note that Los Angeles County has always shown its ability to rise to the occasion in the face of adversity. This is the greatness of our county and our underlying strength. I have been here when the county faced bankruptcy in the early 1990s, when health services faced revenue shortfalls in the early 2000s, and the Great Recession of 2008. This county came out of all of these stronger as a result. And our county, led by your board, has built a strong fiscal foundation that has positioned us to weather the current challenges from a position of greater strength than other local municipalities. For fiscal year 1920, this has enabled the county to avoid any impacts to our services and personnel. Our longstanding commitment to responsible budgeting has earned the county its highest ever credit ratings and has provided rainy day reserves that we are able to draw on now. As we weather this storm, as we have all the others, I would like to underscore the big picture and the bright future that lies ahead. Our diverse and innovative local economy, anchored by the vibrant creative economy that includes the entertainment industry and world-class sports, will be back. The eyes of the nation and the world will be on us when we host marquee events like the Super Bowl in 2021, potentially the World Cup in 2026, and of course the Olympics in 2028. This budget and our actions now must focus on preserving the overall strength of the county over the long term. Even though we are facing profound challenges, I fully expect us to overcome them. Our overriding goal is to preserve the strong foundation that our residents can rely on in the years ahead, and for our county to continue to be a vibrant, diverse, shining star on the national and world stage. Thank you for the opportunity to present the budget to this board today. I will now turn to the agenda, starting with fiscal year 1920 budget. On item number 1, recommendation for I would ask that this matter be continued to July 7th, 2020. Madam Chair, the remaining item is before your board.
Thank you. Item number 1 is before us. With that, Supervisor Ridley Thomas moves. Supervisor Solis seconds. Celia, will you please call the
Item 1 is before us to approve number 1 through 3 and continue number 4 till July 7, 2020. Supervisor Solis? Aye. Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Ridley Thomas?
Aye.
Supervisor Ridley Thomas, aye. Supervisor Keel?
Aye.
Supervisor Keel, aye. Supervisor Hahn?
Aye.
Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Barger?
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item 2, which is a 2021 budget item. Will you please brief us, Sachi Hamai?
Thank you, Madam Chair. On item number 2, 2A are issues raised at the public hearings, and this will be a receive and file item. On item number 2B, these are the Chief Executive Officer's recommendations to adjust the fiscal year 2021 recommended county budget. On this item, I would also ask that the portion of the recommendation relating to economic development community revitalization program, also known as Renovate, be continued to July 7, 2020. This would reduce the total amount of the funding agreements to $63,425,000 and would reduce the amount of the funding agreements with the LA County Development Authority to $62,425,000. On item number 2, let's see, that was 2B, and that also includes items 4 and 5. And then on item number 2C, Madam Chair, I will turn it back to you for any comments before this item is taken up by the full board.
Thank you, Sachi. I'll begin the comments, then we'll go, as I said, first, second, third, and fourth. I'd like to begin by thanking you, Sachi Hamai, for delaying your retirement to assist us during the COVID pandemic. And I want to commend you for your fortitude in guiding our budget. I would also like to thank Matt McGlone and all the staff who've worked tirelessly to present us with this budget. In addition to that, my staff, Rick Velasquez, who I know has worked closely with your office. The COVID-19 public health crisis has illuminated just how many people depend upon county services. Demands for county services such as food, housing, healthcare, mental health, homelessness, and many others are increasing at rates never seen before. Unfortunately, simultaneously to this are increased demands for service. We are also seeing unparalleled reductions in the revenue necessary to be able to provide vital services, especially in the areas of public safety, child welfare, health, and mental health services. In fact, next year's budget of $34.9 million is less than the $36 billion in this year's budget. Through the fiscal prudence and foresight of this board, we've established a hiring freeze and utilized our rainy day fund to provide much needed fiscal relief, allowing us to close our books this year fully balanced. We must continue to be financially wise so that we are able to weather this storm and get through this difficult time while still meeting the demands of the public for necessary services. As a result of our revenue reductions, we are seeing across-the-board cuts that will affect every county department beginning at the top. Unfortunately, this is a necessary action to address the nearly $935 million budget gap. As the board continues to work together to serve the residents of Los Angeles County, we must maximize federal and state assistance in providing relief for our revenue losses. We will come back in September to provide the public with an updated budget that reflects additional revenues if we are successful with our federal and state partners. I am hopeful by working collaboratively, we will get additional assistance from all our partners to assist us with the budgetary shortfalls. I would also like to take a moment to reiterate my commitment toward public safety. The safety and well-being of our communities is crucial. The budget today recommends vast cuts to our public safety departments, primarily due to AB 109 revenue. AB 109 is money that county receives from the state, which is dependent upon sales tax. Given the pandemic, this funding has dropped significantly, and unfortunately, those county departments that rely on this funding are faced with a shortfall. It is my hope that these cuts can be restored in September to further support law enforcement and ensure the public safety. In closing, I would like to thank my colleagues for their ongoing partnerships and dedication to serving the residents of Los Angeles County. With that, Supervisor Solis.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to also take this opportunity to thank Sachi Hamai and her entire team and our county department heads, as well as their staff and as well as all of our budget staffs, including mine, and for everyone's continued hard work to produce the final changes budget, especially during COVID-19. The pandemic, as you know, has had a profound impact on all of our lives. We've sacrificed our economy and our everyday way of life to save as many lives as possible because we believe every life is worthy of sacrifice. Then, weeks into the pandemic, the nation watched in horror the killing of George Floyd, and thousands of Angelenos took to the streets, lifting one unified message, that Black Lives Matter. Institutionalized racism permeates every level of our society and feeds into the county systems, resulting in underinvestment, lack of access to health care, welfare, schools, and housing, all of which create disparities that we see today. And we know that this has disproportionately impacted our Black and Brown communities. Based on data issued last Friday by the county's Department of Public Health, the district that I represent, the 1st Supervisorial District, has the highest number of cases, 24,216 cases of COVID. In fact, the area with the highest number of cases in the county is in the unincorporated area of East Los Angeles in the 1st District. They represent 2,370 cases. And its neighbor, Boyle Heights, which is in the city of Los Angeles, but in the 1st, is also reporting a high number of cases, 1,654. Cases are high in cities that include the Southeast communities, such as Southgate at 1,611, and Huntington Park, a very small community, with 1,105, as well as in the San Gabriel Valley, El Monte and Pomona, both over 1,400. The data shows that communities of working class Latinos and people of color are disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. So equity means allocating resources to these very same communities who have endured the type of systemic underinvestment for far too long. The recommendations put forth this past March by the Alternatives to Incarceration Work Group provides a roadmap for the county to begin the process of implementing this new reality in a different way. And we have already begun to put many of these initiatives into motions. Last week, I read a motion in that will be before the board on July 7th to close Men's Central Jail once and for all. A smaller jail footprint will require us to stop using jails as a place to put people who suffer from mental health or substance abuse disorders or who simply lack access to basic needs like housing. In order for this to be possible, we must build capacity for treatment in community-based organizations now so our residents can begin the process of healing from within the communities that they come from and where they belong. Additionally, the ATI recommendations include my proposal for the restorative care villages at LACUSC and our other medical campuses by providing a comprehensive system of mental health care as an alternative to incarceration. This includes inpatient, subacute psychiatric beds, recuperative care, and mental health urgent care, as well as housing, among other services. In my letter last week to you, Sachi, it may seem like an odd time to ask for more funding given the dire state of the county's budget, but now is exactly the right time to be bold and invest in this new revisioning. I understand that we have to tighten our belts, so let's invest in programs and projects that will really make a difference for our constituents. We cannot put this off as something that we'd like to have, but only when the county has extra funds. This has to be our priority. If anything has been made clear in the past few months, it's that maintaining the status quo is not acceptable. I'm very pleased to see that the budget retained the positions we added in April for our anti-hate program. We also need to shore up staffing for the Office of Inspector General and the newly created Probation Oversight Commission from the motion that I co-authored with Supervisor Ridley Thomas last year to ensure accountability and transparency. And we need to preserve staff for our public defender and alternate public defender, which have been under-resourced for far too long, to ensure every person has legal representation, including our immigrant population. We must continue to invest in our parks and programs that provide internships for young people and jobs, yes, for our youth. All of these priorities align with what the county exists to do, to help the most vulnerable. We are, in fact, the safety net. And I can't think of another time when our communities need us the most right now. These are difficult decisions, I know that, but this is not the first time the county has faced a looming deficit. We will make it through this as we have in the past, but there is a real opportunity for real change right now. So I urge this board to seize upon it. And I want to thank my colleagues and the entire board. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Solis. Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today's budget makes difficult cuts across the board that are necessary to rebalance the budget and close a nearly $1 billion gap. We speak the language of COVID-19 pandemic that has tragically caused more than 100,000 deaths across the nation thus far, and it continues to uptick as we take note as we speak, as well as having triggered a sharp decline in the economy, causing record unemployment, mirroring that of the Great Depression. And yet this is only one of the crises with which we have to contend. We're dealing with multiple crises within a crisis, on top of crises, seems to be our reality at this point in time. But during this pandemic, there has been a renewed sense of urgency for the issue of homelessness, demonstrated through, for example, Project Room Key. And I want to underscore that. In less than 3 months, LA County has repurposed vacant hotel rooms to bring indoors nearly 4,000 frail and elderly persons experiencing homelessness who happen to be 65 years and or medically fragile. They are the most vulnerable among us. And as Measure H funds decline owing to the lack of sales tax revenue, we will continue to work closely with the state and local partners and stakeholders to create a spending plan that sustains the county-wide network of community-based providers and allows us to keep pushing more people experiencing homelessness into the places that define their dignity and recognize their worth as human beings. And as I make reference to Measure H, the concerns that have been raised eloquently by public comment regarding the issue of allocation of Measure H dollars in terms of law enforcement, that matter has been taken offline as best as we can determine, is under review all over again. As well, in my view, it should be. Over the last month, we witnessed protests in Los Angeles County and across the nation, a public outcry and an awakening to systemic racism and racialized killings at the hands of law enforcement. There's no denying that. We need to speak truth to power, and that's what we have the opportunity to do. In response to these events and in response to greater investment in our community needs, we must unapologetically double down on the approaches that prioritize people's health, community well-being, and safety over surveillance, over excessive enforcement and use of force, over criminalization and incarceration. We speak the language of alternatives to incarceration, and we began on that road way last year and before with the motion that was brought in by Supervisor Kuehl and myself, and we will not turn back. And while the pandemic has accelerated the county's criminal justice reform efforts in some ways, they had previously been thought to be impossible. But look at where we are now. In less than 3 months, the jail population has been reduced from approximately 17,000 persons to 12,000, finally bringing the population down to the state mandated capacity level. We were out of compliance for all that time, and it took a pandemic to cause that to be corrected. And in my point of view is that if we don't stay ever vigilant, we will find ourselves in constant non-compliance owing to being acquiescent in the face of massive bureaucracies that must be faced head on. And so to keep incarceration levels for adults and youth down, let me just say, I'm committed to expanding the Office of Diversion and Reentry's work so that hundreds, if not thousands, more people with serious clinical needs can be diverted out of jails into the next phase of their lives, because it is the most compassionate thing to do, the most humane thing to do. It is the most cost-effective thing to do. We say it before, we say it again. Incarceration costs roughly $600 per person each day, while diversion costs merely $70 per day. Do the math. It is not difficult. And this county has effectively removed 5,500 individuals from jails and served over 21,000 persons through its comprehensive reentry programs. And that's been led by the Office of Diversion and Reentry. And you remember we kicked this work off in 2015. And the whole notion is to begin to shift priorities, shift resources, consistent with our views and values of what is a proper way to manage scarce resources and elevate the quality of life of those who have been stuck in systems and the outcomes are poor. The only thing we were doing in many instances was recalculating recidivism. Instead, we need to take a closer look at what better outcomes can be. I want to say I'm equally committed to investing resources and alternatives to incarceration. That initiative, which includes scaling up psychiatric urgent care centers, the behavioral health center, as is going up at the MLK campus, and building out community-based continuum of care. That's the foundation of alternatives to incarceration work. Expect that we will lean in that regard. We are simply obliged to do so. I want to place safe for the record, I'm committed to immediately resuming the launching the board-approved Probation Oversight Commission and the investigative arm of the Office of the Inspector General, focused on probation reform. Unfinished business, we cannot turn back on that. We can't afford to delay the critical work of strengthening accountability in public safety. And that's why at the next board meeting, we'll be pushing very hard to address these issues yet to be identified in the supplemental budget. That's a full-on commitment that has to be evidenced if we are to live out the values that we articulate. This is time for further investment in community-centered solutions that give the county the best and highest return for our communities, the best and highest return that elevate the quality of life of persons who are in some ways thought to be vulnerable, but who can be caused to thrive with proper investment. So I want to be clear that our work does not end here today. This is just a part of the process, but it doesn't end here today. We'll continue through the summer to produce what is the supplemental budget that ensures that Los Angeles County is a leader in prioritizing people's health and well-being. We have the infrastructure to do it. The question is whether we have the resolve and the imagination. LA County is a leader in reimagining public safety. That's already been evidenced over the past half decade, and we are not finished. We are committed to closing the gap on many levels with respect to unmet needs in this county so that we are achieving better results for our respective communities who deserve those investments. Yes, I'm fully aware that resources are finite. We don't have an unlimited bank account here. 33 plus $billion in terms of budgeting is a lot, but we have a lot to do. The question is how we do it, where we aim it, what our priorities are. And I think it's important that we take a very careful, close, hard look at what we are doing. May I end by saying, Madam Chair, a shout out to the Chief Executive Officer, Sachi Hamai, for continuing to be an exemplary steward of the county's resources, riding herd on the budget processes and the finances, and doing what has been necessary on a number of ways to support the budget initiatives that each member of this board has brought forward in an attempt to be more humane, to be more smart, to be more in line with a set of values that say that Los Angeles County can be distinguished as a leader in the area of the safety net, the new safety net, the real safety net that can keep us on track with our highest aspirations. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Ridley Thomas. Supervisor Kuehl?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would like to add my thanks to our, frankly, incredible CEO, Sachi Hamai, for helping the county once again get through some difficult times. But this is really unprecedented. In the few years that I've been serving, I don't believe we've seen anything like this. And Sachi, you and your team and our county department leadership, our budget and finance staff had to suggest some very, very difficult decisions to us over the last few weeks. As my colleagues have mentioned, we're facing an unprecedented almost $1 billion budget gap for the incoming fiscal year. And the proposed budget in front of us includes a lot of curtailments of our county services and our county staff. And I always like to take the opportunity to remind people that even though there have been those in the country more on the other side politically from me who have been trying to convince you that government is a bad thing, that government should go away, that government should step down, now in the middle of these really double emergency situations, it's government that has to step up and has stepped up. And that is why we are trying to preserve what we can of many of the services, most of which actually do also serve the clients that people have been talking about in our public comment. It's not ideal that we make these curtailments, but I'm confident that there will be some better days ahead, potential mitigation plans. That's why we do supplemental in September. We have to continue our advocacy at the state and the federal levels because they will be bringing some money that we have to rope in. We have to continue to build on the work and the positive change that we have started to accomplish over these last few years. We have critical priorities that I think you're hearing, those of you listening to this deliberation, that this board is committed to moving forward, and more important now than ever. Our folks who are struggling to make ends meet, we have to hear them and help them. Communities who have made it very clear that care first, jail last is not just the gold standard, but the only standard. There's been a good deal of talk about alternatives to incarceration. I think those of you who are looking at the agenda know that in Section 3, there's a report back on ATI by the CEO in number 3F, and I've held that item so that we can have a further talk about what we will do with this very, very important program and what we are doing. I am proud of my constituents who spoke up and proud of all the constituents in LA County who are speaking up for this because it's not enough to have a progressive board, though it doesn't hurt since they have to make the rules. It is very important to have the movement say to us, and you must, and you must, and you must. And we hear you and we are proud of you for speaking up. However difficult the curtailments are, the proposed budget still does protect a number of our key priorities, including, I'm happy to say, affordable housing. I am grateful to the CEO for finding a way to continue the county's commitment to invest in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. It's a commitment we made 5 years ago, and in the last 5 years, we've seen such a rise in homeless number, and now demands to reduce our reliance on the top-down law enforcement model and rather invest in housing and services only makes it more clear how important this is. The county's commitment to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, combined with additional city and state funding, is dramatically increasing the stock of affordable homes. It's a long-term investment in keeping people in their housing when there's good times and when there's bad times. And this is true in every supervisorial district. But we can't stop there. We have to take a moment to highlight key priorities that we must support and fund. I want to repeat what my colleague from the 2nd District said in terms of the item 3C, if you look forward, which was the host funding, the law enforcement funding from Measure H. That is going to be referred back, if we agree by vote, to the CEO's office and will not be part of the budget today if we agree. Secondly, on June 26th, LAHSA released the homeless COVID recovery plan. We brought a motion asking them to figure out a way to have a detailed plan for housing the 15,000 people experiencing homelessness who are most vulnerable to this virus. It's an ambitious plan, but it's also imperative to move them, especially as Project Room Key loses its rooms to hotels reopening if they can. And something we really have to pay attention to, and I'm underscoring that again. Food insecurity. We cannot really turn our eyes away from the fact that more and more people in this county are not just hungry, but starving. It's an urgent need. Just look at the cars lined up at our food distribution events and the challenges to enroll people fast enough to meet growing demands in governmental safety net programs like CalFresh, where we're consistently overwhelmed with the number wanting to sign up. People think the issue of food insecurity is new, but it's not. But the strain on the economy has exacerbated it. Thirdly, let's not lose sight of the major strides we've made in improving our planet's long-term health through sustainability. It used to be that people would say, oh, those environmentalists, they just care more about trees than people. And then we discovered environmental justice and how all of these sustainability measures that work to clean up the air, to clean up the water, to keep us healthy, really impacted communities of color even more because, of course, they were the ones that had all of these dirty, spewing places in their districts. So sustainability is an issue for all of us, and I encourage us to continue to pay attention. Last but not least, I want to say we cannot afford to stop the Women and Girls Initiative, particularly as it nears its 5-year mark in fiscal year 21-22. This is a one-of-a-kind initiative that sheds light, the only one in the county specifically designated to turn the light on gender inequities and to work to provide solutions. The recommended budget, the budget being recommended today, final budget, proposes an early sunset of the Women and Girls Initiative, deleting 2 positions. I would say this is unacceptable. I'm going to ask us to look at this again next week in our regular meeting and see if we can't help. And in conclusion, I want to say the harsh reality of what we're facing, the midst of a pandemic, the righteous social uprising, it is for these very reasons that we must press on with our really important priorities to tell those who are testifying and the millions who are not, we hear you. We've been with you all along. We will use our power and our abilities to provide these services to our most vulnerable communities. We want our society and our environment to be stronger and better, and we will work together to achieve it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Kuehl. Supervisor Hahn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, thank you, Sachi, for your work and your team's work on this budget before us today. And I definitely consider you the great guardian of Los Angeles County. You've always managed to protect our resources and our ability to provide for our residents for decades to come. But in a lot of ways, this is a common sense approach you're taking here. We're making cuts to stay within our means and wait and see if we get additional help from the state and the federal government to restore these cuts. And I respect that. This budget prioritizes the bottom line. It keeps our government whole. But this is a budget that is a status quo budget in an unprecedented times. I don't think this budget meets the moment. This may very well be the worst combination of crises our residents have ever faced. We're seeing more people losing their housing, their jobs, their businesses, their health at a scale that I haven't seen before, and they need our help. Granted, we've done some things to address these problems through board motions, but I don't believe at a scale commensurate with the power and resources of the largest county in the United States. And in a lot of ways, the pandemic has forced us to address homelessness with an urgency that I've been calling for some time now. We've also seen more people being released from jail and diverted to services than ever before. Why slow this momentum? We take pride as a county for being the ultimate safety net for our residents. But at a time where we are needed more than ever, we're voting on a budget that holds back our ability to be that helping hand. For example, LA County was allocated $1 billion from the federal government through the CARES Act, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. But as of right now, $900 million of that $1 billion is still sitting in our county coffers. We need to spend more of that money now on the people who need it, and that is not in this budget. I know that we have to be mindful of our bottom line and preserve our financial stability, but the rainy day is here. And it's easy to help people when times are good. It's hard, but it's our responsibility to help people when times are bad. And on top of this, I know that we all believe that this budget is a statement of our values, but I don't think this budget reflects our values. Over the last several years, we've talked a lot about our aspirations for reforming our criminal justice system and building a restorative justice system. We've set up the Office of Diversion and Reentry. We voted against replacing the Men's Central Jail with another jail. And we passed a historic framework for alternatives to incarceration. And now people are literally taking to the streets demanding changes, many of which this board agrees with and we have been working towards. Now is the time to put our money where our mouth is. And yet I don't see a restorative justice budget in front of us today. In fact, this budget cuts funding for the public defender and the alternate public defender, two agencies that defend the homeless, juveniles, the mentally ill, and the indigent, which will likely result in layoffs that will seriously impact their ability to do their important work. According to the Alternatives to Incarceration framework that Supervisor Sheila Kuehl initiated and that we all voted for, we should be investing more in these positions, not cutting them. Plenty of our speakers during public comment today brought up the idea of creating an alternatives to incarceration fund, and I would support creating that kind of a fund. And may I just say, all those who called in today were so articulate and so incredibly thoughtful and conscientious in their words to us. This budget's 8% cut in NCC across the board was not strategic. What we need is a surgical scalpel that cuts from some but invests in others. In addition, I know my colleague Supervisor Solis wrote you a letter, Sachi, on Friday and expressed her concerns about the needs of our communities of color that are not met with this budget. And I agree with her vision of how this budget can be improved and how we can bend this budget towards people of color. I know that we're not bringing in any motions today to redirect resources, but I've thought long and hard about this, and I'm going to abstain in the vote on this budget. And I really would ask that you approach this budget differently than you ever have before. And I know we call this the final budget, but as you've told us, Sachi, we actually have 3 bites at the apple, and this is our second bite. Next, we'll have the supplemental budget that I hope I can vote yes on. And I urge you, Sachi, to work with each of us, with all of the stakeholders, to rework this budget so that it meets the challenges of these extraordinary times. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you for yielding back to us, Supervisor Hahn. With that, Sheriff Villanueva has requested to speak, so why don't we go ahead and invite Sheriff Villanueva to comment?
Yes, good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. I heard from the public comments, and I heard from, I think, each of you. And the budget for the Sheriff's Department represents a very critical defunding of law enforcement activities throughout the county and in the major areas. And what I didn't hear from anybody, either from the supervisors or the public comments, was any word on behalf of victims of crime. It would seem like they've just been eliminated from the face of the planet. And victims of crime are the most vulnerable in our society. They're the ones that bear the brunt of crime that's inflicted on them. They bear the financial price, the emotional toll, and they have to address the loss. Imagine a breadwinner whose sole means of transportation is stolen. It's a grand theft auto. And there's no consequences for that crime right now. And that has a huge impact for that person being able to bring food to the table. And victims of domestic violence, victims of sexual assault, family members that lost a loved one due to murder. And these are the most vulnerable members of society. And I will argue, and I don't disagree, that we have people in our care and control in our custody environment that suffer from mental illness, suffer from drug abuse, substance abuse, and we definitely want to do our best to reach out and support them where we can. However, we can't erase accountability from the equation. That is sorely lacking. Personal accountability has a huge role to play. And the alternative to incarceration, the Care First Jail Last model, it just divorces itself from the notion of personal accountability. And I have over 1,200 inmates in the county jail who are there awaiting trial for murder. And they're not going anywhere. They're not going to be diverted. They represent a serious physical threat to the community. And however, among that crowd, they still need treatment, particularly those that suffer from mental disorders. We have to care for them because they're in our care and control. That's my responsibility. And this budget that's being proposed, I'm losing the ability to provide the programming necessary care for the inmate population in our control. I'm also losing the ability to provide the investigative services to account for all the crimes that are committed that are not homicide. I mean, a proposal to eliminate Special Victims Bureau, Major Crimes Bureau, Narcotics Bureau, Safe Streets Bureau, that, I don't even know where to begin with that. Forgery and cyber crimes, they impact the lives of a lot of victims of crime in a very positive way. And just axing them from the budget for somehow to balance the books of the entire county budget does not seem a very judicial exercise in spreading or distributing the resources of the county government. Eliminating Parks Bureau, and I think Supervisor Solis, you spoke about the necessity of supporting the Parks program, but if you eliminate the Parks Bureau, you realize you're withdrawing all of the security and safety provided by law enforcement in those very parks, which means that not a lot of people are going to be willing to go out to enjoy those parks if there's a perception that it's not a safe thing to do. Same thing goes for mass transit. And I know most of you sit on the board of the MTA. Ridership in the MTA is directly related to the perceptions of security. And there's no alternative. There's no way around that. That's always been. But with defunding law enforcement, crime will predictably increase. The times we've enjoyed where crime is steadily decreased is going to come to an end. And now we're going to start swinging the tide in the other direction where it's going to go upwards. New York City is exhibiting that. Chicago is exhibiting that. And we're not exempt to the laws of gravity. And this is a very, this budget, the bulk of the budget, the bulk of the vacancies, the bulk of the layoffs, all are centered on the Sheriff's Department. You have the ability and you have the flexibility to spread the hit to the county budget across all of the departments equitably and using other funding sources. But hiding behind the fig leaf of Prop 172 and the sales tax and oh gosh darn, you know, it falls mostly on public safety. That is not responsible because people are going to get hurt with this budget, plain and simple. And I notice a lot of concern about the conditions in the jail, but I should remind you that with roughly 95,000 cases of COVID-19 in LA County and 2,300 deaths, I did the math. If the rate of infection and death in our jail system was the same as in the general public, we would have had 409 deaths of inmates in our jail system. We've only had 2. So we're doing something right in the jail system. We definitely, I support a lot of the ideas, alternatives to incarceration, but in principle, you have to build it first. You have to make it work before you withdraw funds from the things that are supporting programs that do work, that do keep the community safe. And going back to our victims of crime, they're predominantly people of color. They're the ones that pay the price to rising crime rates. And I just don't hear a word about them at all. They somehow disappeared. Same goes for the average law-abiding tax-paying resident or citizen of this county. They have a stake in the outcome as well, not just the justice-involved community. Everybody else, which is a far larger group of people, they have as much at stake, if not more, in the outcome of how we shape public safety in the future. And this budget does not do that. This budget is a shout out and a wink and a nod to the defund the police movement, and you're hiding behind Prop 172 to achieve it. But it's not going to work, and you're going to harm people along the way. And I urge you to rethink your approach. And anyway, thank you. And any questions, I'll be more happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sheriff Villanueva. With that, I'm going to ask some questions. But first, Supervisor Ridley Thomas, you wanted to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few questions, if I may. First, to County Council, in terms of the role of the CEO and having authority to set the sheriff's budget. Can you speak to that, Madam County Counsel?
Yes, Supervisor, thank you. Yes, the law is clear. Under California law, the board has the authority to set the budget for the county and its departments, including the sheriff's department. The board does this through the CEO. The board and the CEO, not the sheriff, control the budget.
Madam Chair, may I continue?
Supervisor Thomas, I just had a few questions regarding the sheriff that I wanted Sachi, and then I can invite you to speak afterwards. I thought you wanted to ask Sheriff Villanueva a question.
Oh, no. I wanted to proceed with the questions to our staff.
I just have
to lead. Go ahead.
I just have a few questions. Thank you. I have some questions for the CEO, because one of the things that the sheriff didn't mention was body cameras, which seemed to be a hot topic over the last week. Sachi, can you please tell us how much money was set aside for body-worn cameras and how much of that allocation has been spent to date?
The total allocated to date is $34.78 million, and the Sheriff's Department has spent approximately $7.7 million of that.
And is this funding that has been set aside, will it remain committed to the body-worn camera rollout within this budget?
Right. The entire project was fully funded in June of 2019, and it will remain earmarked until completion. I want to note that when we funded the Sheriff's Department in June of 2019, we also funded 4 other departments as well with additional funding, and it's set aside. It's the alternate public defender, the DA, the public defender, and ISD.
So the Sheriff's Department has come to us to request funds to be spent on infrastructure, and the next step is to enter into a contract with a vendor and then purchase the cameras. Is that correct?
Well, we've already paid for the infrastructure. That's what the $7.7 million went for. But the next step is for the sheriff to bring forward the contract with the vendor.
Thank you, Sachi. Is the director of ISD available, Selwyn Holland? Is he on?
Good morning, Selwyn Hollins.
Good morning. Can you give us a status update on the body-worn camera procurement process?
Yes. On October 31st, 2019, at the request of the Sheriff's Department, our department released the request for proposals for body-worn cameras and digital evidence management system. The process has been progressing as expected. Solicitations are completed, the evaluations are done, and the Sheriff's Department is in the process of negotiating with a top-ranked vendor to establish a contract to move forward.
So who has been included in the team of evaluators?
The evaluators are the subject matter experts from the Sheriff's Department and the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office.
So the Sheriff's Department has been involved in each step of this process, correct?
That is correct.
So given where we are right now, can you let us know how soon can the sheriff outfit deputies with these cameras?
We can speak to, or I can speak to the procurement process. Once the negotiations are completed and a contract is prepared, then a notice of intent to award will be made public. After that, or once that is released, then the non-selective vendors have an opportunity to protest. But subject to any protest or the release of the contract, as soon as it's signed, they can begin the process of procuring the equipment.
So when do we anticipate the contract being finalized based on where it is right now?
At the current phasing, we anticipate mid to late July. There have been a number of negotiation meetings thus far between the sheriff and the top-ranked vendor, and we expect that a lot of great progress is being made. So that being said, once that negotiation process is completed, then it's just a matter of preparing the contracts and getting them signed.
Thank you, Mr. Hollins. I want you to stay on in case any of my colleagues have any questions for you, but let the record reflect that the money is been set aside in a PFU for body-worn cameras that this board as a whole has allocated. So the money is there. Let the record reflect that. And let the record reflect that, as I've said, the sheriff has the ability to outfit each and every sheriff with the cameras once procurement is done, which is mid-July. So I just want the record to reflect that. With that, Supervisor Ridley-Thomas?
Madam Chair, can I just weigh in also just to make it a little bit more clear? When you say the money is set aside in PFU, I just want to make sure that everybody understands the sheriff has the spending authority. And so once he enters into the contract, the money is there, but he has the ability to just move forward. And then it's a ministerial act. It's basically like he's writing a check and the money will be drawn from the PFU. But he does have the spending authority. So as soon as he completes everything, it's really up to him to, request the money to be paid.
So what you're saying, Sachi, is that he has to submit an invoice and have it be a nexus to the body-worn cameras in order to draw down those funds?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. Supervisor Ridley-Thomas.
As a matter of historical record, Madam Chair, the board has been moving the agenda of body-worn cameras since 2012. The previous sheriff heard from this board on this issue, and we've been marching forward to try to get this implemented. It went through the process of the Citizens Oversight Commission, several iterations pushing on the part of the board to get this done. It is not an elective piece of business. This is fundamental to contemporary law enforcement to have body-worn cameras in place, and we have an abundance of examples of how controversy could have been more clearly settled had we had these body-worn cameras. Time is up for any excuses as to why we don't have them. Implementation is the order of the day, and I appreciate the questions that you posed, Madam Chair, because it clarifies in my mind the fact that these issues have to be addressed in the interest of elevating community confidence, public trust in terms of what law enforcement represents that it is to do. With your permission, I'd like to ask the CEO a few questions about some of the representations made pertaining to the Sheriff's Department's budget. So, Madam CEO, thank you, Madam Chair. Madam CEO, help us understand the process. Did the Sheriff's Department submit a curtailment plan like the other departments in the county? And if so, when? And what was proposed in that process in terms of elimination of items and the like? That's my first question. If you can answer that for us, it'd be appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you, Supervisor. Yes, like every other county department head, the sheriff submitted his cost reduction scenarios of 10, 15, and 20%. In the 10% curtailment proposed, he submitted on April 27th, he proposed cutting unincorporated area patrol, Parks Bureau, Special Victims Bureau, Operation Safe Streets, Community Partnership Bureau, which is the COPS program, Fraud and Cyber Crimes Bureau, Major Crimes Bureau, and custody-related operations. These are the sheriff's own recommended cuts.
Let me follow up. How many items and individuals would have been affected by those proposed cuts, Madam CEO?
Under the sheriff's proposal and an 8% scenario, the sheriff's plan would have eliminated 1,525 vacant positions and resulted in 894 potential layoffs.
So was there any change to, or did you modify the sheriff's proposed curtailment plan in any way? And if so, when did you do that? And why would you have done that?
Um, Thank you, Supervisor. Yes, I did. I cut the number of layoffs proposed by the sheriff nearly in half. My staff identified an additional 437 vacant positions to eliminate instead of imposing the 894 layoffs as the sheriff had proposed. I would like to also emphasize that the number of layoffs of individuals who are actually in the positions will come entirely from custody operations, which I believe is appropriate given the significant reductions in the jail population. And I think you asked when I made this decision. I made the decision after we had identified that it was an 8% cut and before I finalized all of the documentation going to your board. So it was sometime in mid-June.
Madam Chair, those are the questions I want to raise for now, but I assure you there could be more. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Solis and then Supervisor Hahn.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Sachi Hamai, for clarifying the vendor process and how the Sheriff's Office has indeed been working with you. And I just want to echo some of what Supervisor Ridley Thomas said, that some of us have been engaged on the whole issue of body-worn cameras. I know in the year that I was first elected in 2014, I carried several motions. We had several discussions with the previous sheriff regarding the whole issue of body-worn cameras. It was quite an item for discussion at that time, I think in the city of Los Angeles as well as the county. The proposal that was put forward at that time was much more ambitious, I believe, and cost a lot of money. And I think that was somewhat prohibitive in terms of what we were really trying to look at. I realize that the plan that this new sheriff, Villanueva, brought in is much different. But my question is, are we looking in terms of this RFP to actually provide cameras for all of our deputies? I want clarification, or what portion are we funding? Because I'd like to have some clarity on that. Can someone answer that? ISD, perhaps?
Yeah, I think it's ISD, and I'm glad you're getting clarification because I did say all, and I don't think it does. But Selwyn.
Supervisor, Selwyn can answer, but I could also answer. But Selwyn, go ahead.
ISD, I just want to be clear, our role was really just to support the procurement process as far as how the funding is going to go. It is our understanding that the RFP was inclusive of whatever.
Yeah. Then I'll respond. Absolutely. Based on the consultant's report that came back, it was the second consultant report. The funding that has been set aside, the almost $35 million, covers all patrol stations.
Okay. And that just, and I asked that question because I understand that the sheriff has a proposal to roll out this plan beginning with what I want to say are five initial stations that he's identified to allow for the deputies to have the body-worn cameras. One of the concerns I have is that given all of the history with the sheriff and parts of the unincorporated area, is that I found in asking questions of his staff that they were going to not identify any cameras being put out in this pilot program in East Los Angeles, which to me strikes at the very core of why this program is necessary. And I do not understand that. And I would urge the sheriff to please reconsider that because given what we have just gone through in the last 3 months and of course the last several years, I think our community is crying out obviously for transparency and accountability. And I would work with you on that because this is something that I care dearly about. And then also, I know this isn't a budget item, but the fact that we do need to have some ability to review the policy in terms of how information is stored, how it is viewed, who those individuals are that make determinations, and if it is transparent and judicial in nature. And so I would want to make sure that OIG and the Civilian Oversight Commission also have a role, as well as the public, and that information the sheriff should provide to all of our residents in how he's going to put forward this pilot program that is going to be looking at starting in 5 different stations. And I understand only one in my district has been identified, and I believe that's the City of Industry. And that is a small station. They cover some unincorporated areas, but I would say that of higher importance, I think, in today's times is East Los Angeles. So I would just underscore that, Madam Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to make my comments. Thank you.
Supervisor Hahn.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Yeah, I know we've had a lot of explanation, thank goodness, on the body-worn cameras, because there's just been so much misinformation and blaming out there. But let me just get this straight again. Under this scenario, Sachi, when you said he had the spending authority to just spend that PFU money once the vendor has been chosen and the contract has been negotiated, does that mean it does not come back to the board for another vote or approval?
The only thing, Supervisor, that would come back is we would transfer the money probably through a mid-year budget adjustment. But he could go ahead and enter into the contract and move forward. It's really a ministerial process. It's just transferring the funds from PFU into, the checking account, basically, to process, to pay the vendor.
So we're just waiting for that vendor to be chosen and the contract to be negotiated. And then, as you said, it's ministerial that we just transfer the money, but we have the money. It's been appropriated. It's in a fund. It's ready to go. So in no way are we holding this up or in any way blocking this this ability for our sheriff to implement a body-worn camera program. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the money has been there since June of 2019.
Thank you. And let me, the other thing, and I know, I think Mark asked the question about the specific programs that are going to be cut in the sheriff's department to meet that 8% curtailment. And I was going to ask the same thing. Who came up with those specific programs? And your answer was actually the sheriff gave that to you. And you even mitigated a little bit further by reducing the number of layoffs. My question is, does the sheriff have another opportunity if he disagrees with those programs? Does he have another opportunity to come back with other cuts that would meet that 8% that maybe wouldn't be these specific programs? And at what point in this process is that still sort of available to him?
Thank you, Supervisor. Great question. We are always here and open to listening to the sheriff. I think after I had made my final decision to reduce the number of individuals that would be laid off, we did ask for the sheriff's comments on it, to which he said he did not endorse any of the curtailments, but instead would rather cut just overtime and court-related services. And as you know, overtime, there has not been a real good track record of any kind of reduction. So I did say no to that. And then with respect to the court operations, that's an MOU with the state, and I can't defund something that we are currently in a contractual agreement with. So if the sheriff would like to come back and try and work with us, happy to listen to him. We will be working again between now and supplemental to see what we can do to certainly mitigate the individuals that would be laid off.
Right, and that would be my suggestion to the sheriff, that if he's really uncomfortable with these specific cuts, that he come back with another idea on how to meet that 8%. And Sachi, changing subjects, my big thing was, when I was chair, which seems like so long ago, I was very big on the whole idea of teleworking, working from home, working from alternate sites. And I know that a couple of our departments, WEDAX, Human Resources, Auditor Control, have terminated leases for current workspaces because their staff is working from home. And I was wondering, to me, this is another advantage of the pandemic. It's really allowed our county employees to work from home. And I love the way that we've supported them by making sure everybody had laptops and the network infrastructure to support that. Is there a way that we can maximize teleworking with our commercial leases going forward? I didn't see that anywhere in this budget. Didn't know, Sachi, if that was any opportunity going forward to, again, capture something that I think has been positive and has been important, and whether or not you could capitalize on that by figuring out if there are other leases that we could terminate. Thank you. That's all my questions, Madam Chair.
Sachi, do you want to respond to that, and then Supervisor Kuehl?
Sure, absolutely. And just to close out the conversation on the sheriff's budget, I do want to reiterate again the potential layoffs that we're talking about, the 457. Again, those are all coming from custody. I am not taking them from the areas that the sheriff proposed. So I just want to make sure, I think everybody understands that, but just want to make sure I'm on the record about that. Switching over to telework. Yes, Supervisor, the pandemic actually has really, as you indicated, moved us quite rapidly into the whole telework world. And obviously, we did not put anything in this final change budget because as we are getting ready to reopen all of our county-facing public buildings, what we've submitted to the board in the reopening of the county buildings is a multi-phase approach to the use of telework. And I think what you'll see in it is that there are departments that want to consolidate leases and or relocate from lease space into county-owned spaces. So we may be downsizing a bit on space. But we hope that this is going to be not just a one-time reduction, but a multi-phase reduction in our costs for leasing and properties. And what you'll see in the supplemental budget will be the first phase of hopefully many years to come of our reduction in the footprint for county employees. Thank you.
Thanks, Sachi. I really appreciate that. Again, I think we're trying to reimagine county government, reimagine law enforcement, but I also think this is a great time for us to reimagine how our employees work and serve the public. So thanks. I really appreciate you looking into that.
Thank you. Supervisor Kuehl?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Returning to the issue of body-worn cameras, I had been given to understand that the sheriff was imposing a number of policies should the body-worn cameras be ruled out, including a policy by which the deputy involved would be able to review the footage before anyone else, and that our inspector general, our own review teams, and the families would not have the same access. So I wanted to ask our CEO and our county council if we have any ability to influence the use of the footage from body-worn cameras, or is that all within the sheriff's department to kind of decide on that?
Closely working together.
Yeah, it's on.
Yes, Supervisor. This is Mary Wickham, County Council. Great question. And, in theory, the COC and the OIG should be working hand in hand with the Sheriff's Department to figure out those significant policy issues. When cameras are turned on, when they're turned off, what gets to be reviewed, and of course, labor also would be at the table negotiating that. My understanding is that Those details have not been finalized yet.
Okay, thank you for that. And one further thing, I noticed that the sheriff kind of pulled out an old chestnut, I believe my grandmother would have called it, about how cutting law enforcement budget makes people less safe or feel less safe. And I would simply say that it's interesting to me that the primary testimony about what is making people feel unsafe these days is law enforcement, is a concern about the behavior of law enforcement. And that by doing things like diversion and reentry and alternatives to incarceration, we are trying to invest in helping people not recidivate. And actually, that is what makes communities feel safer, not top-down law enforcement. So I thank you very much, Madam Chair, and everyone involved in putting the budget together.
Thank you, Supervisor Kuehl. With that, we've got this item is before us. Hearing that no one else. Go ahead, Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Just a word on these body-worn cameras. I said we began this work in October of 2012. Reference has been made to the COC and the OIG, and I think it's important for us to be mindful of the fact that they are on record with reports about body-worn cameras. This year is one example with the Office of the Inspector General. The COC came with a report in 2018. Both Supervisors Kuehl and Solis had a motion on this issue in 2016, so there's been a steady march forward. The motion that I brought was the original motion in 2012, and we've continued to do that work again. We came back in 2019, so the body has been engaged. The board has been engaged in trying to move this agenda forward. There should be no question about that. And any attempt to try to make it appear as though there's been negligence on the part of the board is just simply false. I want to say further that with respect to the policy issues and the like, with the rollout of the body-worn cameras, it should not be exclusively the Sheriff's Department. It should not be exclusively the DA's department. This is why we have a COC. This is why we have an OIG. And for that matter, this is why we have a public defender's office. All of that is important for the credibility and the efficacy of body-worn cameras to help raise the level of public trust vis-a-vis law enforcement. The absence of such only further advances the critique that law enforcement has something to hide and is too exclusive, pushing back on those who want to see better safety, more community standards that lead to less violence in our respective neighborhoods across the board. Part one crimes are real, but if you don't trust law enforcement to help deal with it, then what have we accomplished? Precious little. And so I think a more inclusive insight on the part of the Sheriff's Department would serve as well. And so to the extent that that's appropriate, Madam Chair, that should be a part of the record indicating to the Sheriff in the most explicit language appropriate, consistent with County Council's oversight. We need to make sure that the respective departments that I just delineated are involved in the process as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor Ridley Thomas. Do I have any other colleagues? I don't see any other colleagues wishing to address on this item. So with that, item 2 is before us, moved by Supervisor Kuehl, seconded by Supervisor Solis. Madam Executive Officer, will you please take vote?
Sure. Item 2 is before us to receive and file 2A and to adopt 2B. Continue the portion of recommendation 3 related to the Economic Development and Community Revitalization Program to July 7, 2020. Supervisor Solis.
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Willie Thomas.
Aye.
Supervisor Willie Thomas, aye. Supervisor Kill.
Aye.
Supervisor Kill, aye. Supervisor Hahn.
I'm going to abstain.
Supervisor Hahn abstains. Supervisor Barger.
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Motion carries 4-0 with one abstention.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to item number 3 from previous meetings, which were deferred to budget deliberations. We'll now hear from the CEO once again on item number 3. Sachi Hamai.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On item number 3, these are items from previous board meetings which were deferred to budget deliberations. So item number 3A is consideration of the additional Marina Del Rey revenues. This item will be a receive and file. On item number 3B, this is a report back on the funding required in the affordable housing budget unit. Again, this is a receive and file. On agenda item number 3C, I'm asking that if this item be referred back to the CEO's office. On item number 3D, this was a report back on the master planning and real estate divisions for the county departments in the East Los Angeles Civic Center. Again, this is a receive and file. On item 3E, this is a request for the sheriff to develop and complete its revenue analysis for submission to the CEO's office to realign his budget. This is a receive and file. On item number 3F, this is a report back on the establishment of the alternatives to incarceration. And on this item, I know that Supervisor Kuehl is holding it. I did want to just indicate on this item that we had provided a report on June 16th regarding the status of the ATI. Subsequently, on June 17th, I had provided another update to this board to ensure the board knew that the California Endowment had provided a grant fund so that we were able to begin the hiring process of the executive director for the ATI. And we are moving forward with that. A job bulletin has been posted, and we hope we will have a director hired soon. So thank you, Madam Chair, members. Those items are before you.
Thank you. Supervisor Solis, you want to address item 3D?
Yes, Madam Chair. 3D, yes, D. The East LA Civic Center that our CEO just talked about. Yes, I'd like to thank you, Sachi Hamai and ISD for the work that they've done so far to improve the East LA Civic Center. And it's been incredible because we've seen some great repairs that were much needed there, including revamping our parking structure, increasing lighting, which is very important, and improving our signage, as well as repairs to the lake that is there. I just want to underscore that for the East LA Civic Center, it does serve as a very prominent hub for our county services. I think it was one of the first kind of regional offices where several departments find their home. Unfortunately, in the past few years, we've seen that there has been an increase in crime, and unfortunately there was a shooting that occurred, I believe, almost a year ago. And I know that the residents there are wanting us to do more in terms of security, and I'm happy with the reforms that we're putting in place now. But I do want to ask that we come together and figure out how we're going to provide for better security, and that means actually having the different departments share in that cost. So I want to urge the CEO to please come back as soon as possible when ready to be able to give us a plan moving forward. And I thank those that have already been working on this. It is a beautiful civic center. And I know that at one point we even had LA Film come out there, and we gave a tour of about 50 people who were very interested in using parts of the park area, our amphitheater, our library. That is also home to the Roy Ball Comprehensive Center and our East LA courts. And it is a beautiful facility. We'd like to keep it that way and continue to make sure that it is safe for all the residents that are living around the surrounding area. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Kuehl?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to say a few more words about alternatives to incarceration. It's gotten so much attention, which I'm very, very happy about. And simply to reiterate that, it seems to me from many of the remarks today and preceding today that this board is deeply committed to carrying out the recommendations. So looking at the foundation recommendations, which we adopted, And then we were hit with, with the virus and all of the diminutions of revenue from the state, from the feds, from taxes, etc., trying to figure out a way to do the least damage to everything that the county does across the board, and frankly, not to throw our own employees in any way under the bus. And I believe that that's what looking at each department suggesting an 8% curtailment really is about. So really in good faith, I didn't feel, and I think others were the same, that we could propose even one new position because we were cutting so many of people who were themselves part of what we're counting on for ATI. So I was very pleased when the endowment stepped up and said, for the first year until we work this through and see where our money will come from, that they will fund a director's position. So we don't have to wait till September to decide whether or not we can hire a director, because it's a big ship and it's going nowhere without a captain. And this is a very, very important recruitment and hiring. And I'm very grateful to Bob Ross at the endowment, to that one person that said that means the director would be working for them. No, that is not the case. This director will be in the CEO's office, and it's funding. And we use a number of foundations to help us augment the money that we use in many of the areas in which we try to do good. Not to also forget that Bob Ross was the chair of the Alternatives to Incarceration Working Group and deeply, deeply understands community engagement and the need for consensus, and indeed is going to reconvene the group to talk about where we go from here very soon. So very, very grateful for the report back, very grateful for the work by yourself, Ms. Amai, and also Fezia Davenport and her team to really make this happen. We'll be talking again about it a week from tomorrow at the regular board meeting. And I look forward to truly rolling this out and making it happen. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Supervisor Solis, you wanted to say something on this item?
Yes, Madam Chair, and I also want to join Supervisor Kuehl also in support of her comments, and really thanking the California Endowment, Dr. Bob Ross, for his commitment, longstanding leadership on this particular issue, but also making available the funds to allow us to identify a director for the ATI. We heard so much today from witnesses who are encouraging us to move this along and find the funding. And I do believe we have an opportunity to do that. And I would encourage our CEO and our staff to think creatively as we move along with this new reinvigorated reimaging of how we deal with restorative justice. This fits in perfectly. We should be able to come up with a good plan. And I look forward to working with all of my colleagues on this. And again, thanking the California Endowment and all of our philanthropic partners, as well as our own Center for Strategic Partnership, and everyone that has put their efforts forward on this motion. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also, I mean, just in general, California Endowment, I mean, Bob is an incredible person, and it gives so much back to the community. So I actually want to also offer my thanks as well. So seeing no other colleagues would like to speak, Supervisor Kuehl moves, seconded by Supervisor Ridley Thomas. Madam Executive Officer, please call the roll on item number 3.
Item 3 is before us to receive and file items 3A, 3B, 3D, 3E, and 3F, and to refer back 3C back to the Chief Executive Office. Supervisor Solis.
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Ridley Thomas.
Aye.
Supervisor Ridley Thomas, aye. Supervisor Kuehl.
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn.
Aye.
Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Barger.
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Now we will move on to budget items 4 and 5, which will be taken up together. We'll hear again from our CEO, Sachi Hamani.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On budget items number 4 and 5, on item number 4A, this is approving the appropriation limits for fiscal year 2021. This is an approved item. On item number 4B, this is to approve the revised figures as that are indicated in the final budget for fiscal year 2021 and instruct the auditor controller to prepare and present the final budget resolution for board adoption. On item number 4C, they are miscellaneous items 1 through 13, and those items will be before your board for approval. And with that, if there are no questions on items 4A through 4C, I would then ask to take up item number 5, which I will turn over to the auditor controller.
Thank you. I see no one has requested to speak, so why don't we go to the auditor controller?
Madam Chair, I was hoping that we would take 4B separately, because that's different than 4A and 4C.
All right.
Actually, Madam Chair, so you do have to take these items up. You have to take up item 4B before item number 5, before the auditor controller presents the budget for.
So, Supervisor Hahn, would you wish to discuss what for 4B? Supervisor Hahn?
Well, that would be the one that I would abstain again on because it's.
Okay, then we will bifurcate that. Then we will not.
Thank you. Thank you.
Got it. All right. So, the auditor controller.
Good afternoon, supervisors. Arlene Guerrero, auditor controller.
Arlene, can I stop you because the supervisors actually have to take up items.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry, Sachi. I thought you said you wanted her to speak before we take it up.
No, you have to actually adopt the recommendations and then.
Okay. So items 4A through 4C are before us, but we are going to have each one voted on individually. So with that, I will move it, seconded by Supervisor Solis. Madam Executive Officer, will you please call the roll?
Sure. So we're going to take a roll call on items 4A and 4C first. Supervisor Solis?
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Riley Thomas? Supervisor Riley Thomas? Supervisor Kuehl?
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn?
Aye.
Supervisor Hahn, aye. Supervisor Barger?
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Motion carries 4-0. Now we're taking roll call on item 4B. Supervisor Solis?
Aye.
Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Riley Thomas? Supervisor Kuehl?
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn?
I'm going to abstain on this.
Supervisor Hahn abstains. Supervisor Barger?
Aye. And Supervisor Ridley Thomas?
Supervisor Ridley Thomas?
I'm back online. We had a malfunction. Would the executive officer indicate what we are considering right now?
We're voting on items 4B.
Ridley Thomas, aye.
Thank you. And Supervisor Ridley Thomas, we voted on items 4A and 4C. Would you like your vote to be reflected as what?
I'm good with those as well, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay.
So 4B, 4-0 with 1 abstention.
Very good.
I won't speculate as to who chose to jack up my system while we were voting, Madam Chair. I'll leave it to your imagination.
With that, we'll move on to the auditor controller.
Good afternoon, supervisors. Arlene Barrera, auditor controller. On April 28th, your board approved fiscal year 2020-21 recommended budget. We have updated all the adjustments your board approved in your discussion earlier today. The fiscal year 2020-21 final budget is balanced and ready for your consideration.
Very good. So we have item 5 before us. I will move it, seconded by Supervisor Kuehl. Madam Executive Officer, will you please take the roll?
Item 5 is before us. Supervisor Solis? Aye. Supervisor Solis, aye. Supervisor Willie Thomas?
Aye.
Supervisor Willie Thomas, aye. Supervisor Kuehl?
Aye.
Supervisor Kuehl, aye. Supervisor Hahn?
Abstain.
Supervisor Hahn abstains. Supervisor Barger?
Aye.
Supervisor Barger, aye. Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention.
Thank you, Madam Executive Officer. Let the record reflect that our next regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors is scheduled for Tuesday, July 7th, 2020.
Madam Chair, can I speak on item number 6? I'm sorry. Can I speak on item number 6?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
That's okay. It's just my final closing comments. I just wanted to thank the board deputies, the department heads, my department, beginning with Kezia, Jim, my entire budget team led by Matt, Sheila, Mason, my entire executive team, all of us, and particularly this year, I think that with so many issues going on, it's been quite a difficult year, but thank you to everybody involved, and thank you to this board for continuing to work with this office and getting through all of these issues together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sachi. That was, thank you very much. And again, thank you to your team. I think the entire board appreciates the hard work that everyone put into this, including our department heads, by the way, who throughout this COVID have had to balance the fact that they've lost revenue and coming in and putting a budget proposal together. So thank you. With that, the next regular meeting will be on July 7th, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. Also, there will be a special closed session meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. The special meeting for the fiscal year 2021 budget deliberations is adjourned. Thank you all.
Pinged them all, Yeah, it's good. And we got our stuff. We got that major.
Good job. And remember,
thank you all.